Good morning, everyone. It's 9 a.m. I'd like to welcome everybody to the June the 2nd, 2020 work session of the Limestone County Commission. Under public comments, and we have Mr. Dr. Pittman here today. Do you want to step up here, Doc?
We have two, don't we?
Yes, and Priscilla Blinkenstock.
Okay.
Appreciate y'all having us up here this morning, and hope some good will come out of this. But to summarize what the intakes are this year compared to last year, through January through March of 2019, we took in 1,338 animals. And January through March this year, we took in 1,286. But January through March, we only took in 595 in 19, and in 20 we took in 735. So COVID has affected our intake numbers. We look for that to change as this thing settles out some. With that in mind, I'm going to go straight to the numbers that Mr. Chairman was referring to. I talked to these people back in December and January, and these are the numbers they gave me. And the bottom line is Athens, Limestone County was paying about $138 an animal. And I checked them, Decatur Animal Services, including the Morgan County Animal Shelter and Decatur Animal Services. Their combined budget was $985,000. Huntsville their budget's $1.3 million. They took in 5,400 animals, and their average cost was $240 an animal. Y'all can read that as well as I can. The bottom line is, I went to the city back in February and explained it to them, and they passed it unanimously to provide $142,000 a year, and that averages out to $196 an animal, which is still below what these other people are averaging. The average cost for Florence, Huntsville, and Decatur, Morgan County, is $198 an animal if you take the average of all their charges. So Athens saw the need to it, and I hope Limestone County does, and in order to reach $196 per animal, it's going to have to have an increase of $154,000. I just got the statement from the shelter to the clinic this month. They are $161 behind, and that's from last April to this April. So that's how much I'm losing a year.
$61 behind what?
The services provided and what they're paying for.
So where's that money coming from?
Right here.
So, okay. You made some statements in here that you were losing something like $25,000
a month.
a month.
That's right, yeah.
Okay, but when I look at your P&L, I see like $70,000 for the whole year.
Yeah.
What's the difference between that? I mean, there's a huge difference between that. Where's that? Why the discrepancy?
I don't know. But I know what the bills are, and I know what it is. That's an accounting thing, and I tried to get George to explain it to me, and he couldn't explain it either.
George.
Pfizer.
Okay. So he's your accountant?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me, just for clarification, what helped me. All right, the Athens Limestone Animal Shelter LLC.
Mm-hmm.
That is a LLC. It's not a nonprofit, right?
It is a nonprofit.
It is a nonprofit. Okay.
501c3, yeah.
Okay. It's a 501c3.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't know that. That's one thing I wanted to find out. And your private practice, the name of it is
Limestone Veterinary Clinic.
Limestone Veterinary Clinic, and that's a for-profit
PC, yeah.
PC. Okay. All right. So you can take tax-deductible donations and things of that nature.
Yeah.
All right. On the P&L for the veterinary clinic, that's fiscal year January to December of 2019. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
the biggest, and what our responsibility, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark Macklin, is by statute, we are required to maintain an animal shelter, right, by statute. I don't know, are you familiar with all the requirements? I mean, I'm sure, I'm not familiar with them.
Okay,
That's really what I'm
the
asking.
basic deal is each county is required to provide an animal shelter or contribute to the upkeep and maintenance of a shelter. All cities over 5,000 people, population in that county have to contribute or maintain their own shelter.
Okay.
So,
What all requirements is placed upon the treatment of animal in the statute? Do you know? Is it pretty vague? I'm not
pretty
sure.
vague. It's
Yeah,
pretty vague.
it's pretty vague, okay.
It's left up to, the shelter director and the personnel. And one thing that we try to do, if somebody brings in one that's injured, we try to repair it to the point where the owner can reclaim it if they want to. If it's too bad, like a broken back or something like that, we go ahead and put it to sleep. If it's a broken leg or something like that, or a lot of lacerations and stuff, we'll go ahead and try to patch that up till they have the opportunity to reclaim it.
Okay. And they they pay you for the, or pay the animal shelter. If they reclaim it, they pay for those charges, right?
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
Do you give the animal back
Yeah.
regardless?
We don't want to. Yeah, we don't want the animal.
Okay.
It's either give it back to them or put it to sleep. And, there's a lot of adverse publicity that comes from putting down somebody's pet, when it could be reclaimed.
Okay. Well, if the animal's damaged beyond, they got to make that decision. That should be their decision of whether or not
Yeah.
they pay for trying to save the animal.
Yeah.
And so you're telling me that personally, that when you say your pocket,
Yeah.
that you personally are losing $25,000 a month or $300,000 a year,
That's right.
and you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart.
More or less, yeah.
Well, based upon that, I would say that we would need to do, because this is presented by you, okay? It's one, that before I would have, I'm sorry, Dr. Pittman, I have a hard time accepting that. I think what we ought to do, and if the other commissioners are willing to do that, is to do an audit of the facility.
Okay, it's been there 14 to 15 years. It's a public facility. You can audit it any time you want to.
Okay. Then I think that's what we should do.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
And another statement that you made in here that you took no salary.
That's
Okay.
right.
Okay. But here, your biggest cost in here on your P&L is the $277,000 for the spay and neuter surgeries.
That's right.
Okay. And can you give me the number, because you don't spay and neuter everything that comes in. Everything that goes
Correct.
out,
That's
everything
right.
that goes out is spayed and neutered. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. And those numbers, I should be able to, those are adoptions.
Yeah.
So it's only the adoptions that are spayed and neutered?
That's right.
Okay. So I should be able to get from that number how much it costs per spay and neuter. Is that correct?
That's good.
Okay. Then we need to look at that. But that, to me, because the spayed and neuter, that's basically your time, right?
Time, equipment, labor, anesthesia, all the materials to do it.
Well, so all the anesthesia is included in that number. It's not in this other line item of medications and vaccines. That's not included in that. That's
No.
separate. Okay. All right. These are just some questions that I have. But I would say that would be, when you say your labor, that's kind of that's your labor, and then you're paid for that out of that $277,000. Is that correct?
The operating facilities, yeah, and the costs associated with the surgery.
Okay. So do you bill, Well, that's all owned by you. Okay. No, it's a board. It's a board, it's a 501c3, but you're paid a salary out of that. How are you remunerated out of that spay, neuter surgeries, that $277,000?
It just goes to operating costs of the clinic. I'm not paid directly out of that. The clinic generates income, and that's one of the sources of income, providing those surgeries. If we were to farm it out, it would cost us a whole lot more than that.
Yeah.
And one thing,
They're nonprofits. Okay, the nonprofits, there's 4 in the state, 1 over here in Huntsville, and they do it a lot. Well, that's what I'm trying to find out. Okay.
they don't do it a lot cheaper than we do. We charge $45 for a spay or neuter.
Okay. Someone brings in off the street, brings in one, wants it spayed or neutered, you charge 40.
No. If they go through the shelter, when it's turned into the shelter, we charge the shelter $45. If they come through the clinic
Okay.
as a client,
Your veterinary, your private practice charges the LLC.
almost $300. No, yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's how you're remunerated. Okay, that's
Yeah.
clear to me now. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of that, I mean, you say you have no salary. Well, part of that comes from that 277. Okay.
Okay, regardless of that, I want you to keep in mind that if you decide not to do this, somebody's going to have to incur this expense, because even with the increase that I've asked for, we're still over $100,000 less than these other facilities. So keep in mind that if we don't renew this, then we're going to have to go another direction.
But we're renewing it 14. Well, we got another 16 months.
Yeah,
I mean, you're under contract. It's a 3-year contract.
yeah.
Okay.
With 8% increase.
With an
in
8% increase
Okay.
every year.
Okay, but we agreed to that before this information was available, because these people didn't have the information.
These people didn't have the
That's
information.
right. Florence just built their new shelter and opened it up. Got a $2 million
Right.
facility over
Yep.
there, and the lady told me they can't put light bulbs in the whole place.
Right.
So there you go. There's a lot of inherent things here that will have to be covered by somebody at some point.
Mhm.
So the city and the county is going to incur at least those charges, and it's going to cost an average of $196 per animal to somebody.
Well, Doc, I got 3 questions for you here, and I mean, and
Okay.
I want you to understand that where I sit in life in this chair, I'm a steward of the taxpayers' money,
I
and you're a
understand.
taxpayer.
Yeah, that's
You're
right.
going to have to pay this bill.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the number one thing is for the public record here, we spend about $595,000 a year on animal control.
Right.
Because we have a $222,000 budget at the sheriff's office where we pay the animal pickup people. And you didn't figure that in the cost. But now Morgan County's dog pound is ran by the people that pick up the dogs. Because Mr. Darren Tucker, I've been down there and met with him, got a real nice facility down there.
Yeah.
So if we add that number in there, I mean, now, another question is, you're saying that a city of 5,000 more per population.
Yeah.
How many of these animals come out of we got 3 annexed cities in this county that, have you asked them for money? Like Huntsville, Decatur, and Madison. When we pick up animals, there's some that come out of that area. Do they pay any to the pot? I'm just asking.
I don't know.
Because before I agree on something here that's taxpayers' money,
Yeah.
we need to know the answer to those. I mean, do they contribute anything to your shelter?
Some by donations, but, if they live in Limestone County, we're required to take the dog.
But now, the city of Athens is contributing to your shelter.
That's correct.
And why are you not asking Decatur and Madison and Huntsville, if these animals are coming out of some of these areas, that's over the 5,000 state law? I'm asking. I'm just asking as a businessman. I know you're a businessman here. Why?
Yeah.
Why aren't you asking them for help with it too?
Because they're not in physical Limestone County.
They're annexed in here though.
City
They have
is not.
city.
What you have is you got Athens City,
Yeah,
animal control,
yeah,
brings you animals.
yeah.
Limestone County brings you animals.
Yeah.
Huntsville, Decatur, and Madison don't bring you animals.
But does
So if a
Huntsville?
Limestone County guy goes and picks up a dog that's running down the side of Huntsville Browns Ferry, that's
Do we
in the
need to
city
carry
of
that
Madison-
animal?
Can I ask a
Okay,
question?
go ahead. Yes.
That's in the city of Madison. If Joe Moss brings that dog to you, we're not asking that dog, hey, where do you live?
Yeah.
Because he don't necessarily live in the city of Madison. He just happens to be picked up running down the side of the road in the city of Madison that happens to be in Limestone County Annex, right?
Yeah,
So, but you don't call Madison and say, hey, we picked up a dog running down part of your city limits. We need you to pay us for that dog, because if the city of Madison Animal Services picks up a dog, where do they take it?
They got a shelter over in Madison.
Yeah, I've talked to Chairman Long and Chairman,
If Decatur
Yeah.
picks up a
and
dog, where do
Chairman
they take it?
Strong too.
To Decatur.
And if Huntsville picks up a dog, their animal services picks up a dog, and let's say it's down there around Swancott, but it's in the city of Huntsville, but it's in Limestone County. Where does the city of Huntsville Animal Services carry their dog?
They take it back to Huntsville.
Right.
Do they pick up, I mean, I'm just asking a question. You know, we have these areas that are annexed in.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to tell you're talking about animal intake. That's the problem we have
That's
here. We have
right.
so many animals intake.
Yeah.
I mean, do we need to try to get our animal, do we need to try to negotiate with them and saying, hey, if we pick up an animal down here at the River Bridge down here at 31, we knows that it's city limits of Decatur.
Yeah.
Does Joe and Mr. Clem and them need to carry it to Decatur Animal Shelter? I mean, that's something, I mean, do we need to do that? I mean, that's just a question. I mean, I'm just asking, because
Yeah.
before, you know, we had to know all, you know, I'm going to ask these questions in the public. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah. My position is, I'm not in the tax collecting business. I don't go to Ardmore and ask them to contribute. If they're over 5,000 people, they're supposed to contribute, and so I don't know who's supposed to enforce that.
Yeah, that's
Just
something.
like
we'll
East
talk about.
Limestone's got almost 10,000 people out there, they don't pay anything. And they should, if they were incorporated, they would be required by law to do that.
Well, I mean, you know, as far as, you know, we're already paying this
It's
222,000.
in the, I mean,
Go ahead.
I mean, East Limestone, it's not a separate, I mean, it's just county, unincorporated area.
But it's 9,000 people out there.
Yeah, but they pay, but.
It is a city
but-
over 5,000 people.
Yeah, but it's not a city.
I know.
I don't know what your point is.
Okay, but you know, you're telling me to go collect in Madison and Decatur and this, but I'm not.
No, that would be, that would be our, I mean, you shouldn't have to go, I mean,
That's
but,
my point.
you know,
Well, I'm saying as a commission, do we go to them?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm asking, we're trying to figure out which direction we need to go here.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, my deal is before you know, first of all, if we're going to do this number from Decatur, we got to add our 222,000 in here because they're picking up, the city of Decatur is actually picking up the dogs. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to have to divide that number out and change that number. But all I'm saying is, do we need to, as a commission, do we need to try to help y'all and say, hey, Joe, if you pick up this dog you know's in Huntsville, do we need to carry this dog? Can we do that by law? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that would be less intake on y'all. It would be less y'all, and then your profit then your not profit, but then your cost per animal would go down because you wouldn't have as many animals.
Yeah.
I'm just simply asking the question, you know.
well, yeah.
I mean, because, you know, I mean, if by law, if the 5,000 population which does exist,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, which, you know, like I said, you know, and like when I went down here and talked to Darren the other day, and when I talked to Chairman Strong over here in Madison County the other day too, you know, they contract with Huntsville. They send there to Huntsville. You know, I mean, you know, they have by law, like Morgan County, like Ray Long said the other day, Chairman Long said, you know, they have to provide to Trinity and all that because they're under population here, just like Elkmont and Ardmore is to us. You know, I mean, we have to provide that. But these cities that are above that population that are annexed into this county, can we get help from them?
I don't know.
I mean, you know, you're saying you're a taxpayer.
Yeah.
I mean, this, you know, you're paying taxes. Your business pays taxes. You know, and here we are. We're $31,000 less last month on gas revenue than we were the month before. You know, this time last year.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, our revenues are going down. I mean, before we agree to something, we just got to figure out. And I'm not saying it's not a needed thing. I mean, I don't know all the answers I need to know today, but I have been researching it hard. You know, and
Right.
and like I said, I mean, do we need? I mean, I know today you're here asking for more.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm willing to try to help any way I can.
Yeah.
But do we need to go to Huntsville, Madison to ask them for money? Decatur? I mean, I don't know.
I mean, that would be a decision the commission has to make. One thing I would ask though, if you want to be critical of me, be critical because I'm too lenient on these people that bring them in. We're required by law to keep them 7 days. We keep some 2 or 3 weeks. If they're local dogs and the owner's out of town or something, we'll keep them till they can come back and get them. Most of the time, we ship them out. If they don't have an owner, they're shipped out. For example, in March of 19, or March of, maybe this year, but this is just an example. we adopted out 130-some animals, 118 of them went out of state. Only 12 went local. There's not enough population here in Limestone County to adopt the excess.
And how much is the adoption fee on a dog?
$110.
That's why I know that's what the Madison Morgan counties was. And I know they gave a voucher,
Yeah.
and they had 2 weeks to get it spayed and neutered and vaccinated. They gave it, if they went to a vet that charged more than 110,
Yeah.
they naturally had to pay the profit. But I know there was 2 or 3 vets in town that charged $104. So the
Yeah.
shelter actually got back $16 per animal.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this. I hope we don't end up getting in a tit for tat with Huntsville because, we start talking about $240 an animal or a cat or $160 an animal or whatever because they did give us $250,000 to build a bridge down there on Old Highway 20 that's not in the city limits of Huntsville. So I know it was in their best interest to be able to get to Mazda Toyota, but I mean, $250,000, that's a whole bunch of animals that we might be able to claim come off the side road down there around Swancott that happen to be in the city of Huntsville. We're going to charge them $240 for after they've been nice enough to give us $250,000 to fix a bridge that was not their bridge.
It was your bridge.
It's not my bridge, it's your bridge too. It's in Limestone
It's
County.
in your district.
But it's in Limestone County.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just getting out. All I'm
How
saying
much-
is
how much
before we
did you
spend
put
any
toward that
taxpayers'
bridge?
money, we need to make sure we go in the
none?
right direction.
But it's in your district?
This ain't good.
250,000 federal aid.
Federal aid, yeah.
Yeah.
So
But I
you
didn't
didn't
put
have
a dime. They put Huntsville City money in it,
I
not
know.
federal aid money in it.
All right.
So I'm
Here-
just
here's-
saying, I mean, when we start going, hey, we're gonna run to Madison and get this $240, and we're gonna run to Huntsville and get this $240. I mean, let's remember that they've been nice to us and done things for us that I don't know if we can total up if we pick up Joe and then pick up that many dogs on the side of the road for $250,000. I agree they need to be paying their fair share, but let's remember that somewhere down the line they may go, well, here's what we got. We can't help you with that. And they got more money than the state of Alabama's got, if you want to know the truth. And I don't want to burn that bridge that they might be able to help us on something big, and we're trying to take something from them small.
Well, I'm not trying to
And
burn
I'm
a
not-
bridge here.
I'm
I'm just
just-
trying to figure out which direction we need to go with this.
And I'm not, I wouldn't be a proponent of going to Madison, Limestone, or Huntsville. All right. But here's what, out of the four,
Yeah, go ahead.
you've been in this for 16 years, right? What year did you start?
04.
04. Well, the first record that I could pull up was from 2008, and at that time it was, and you were saying you started out with 5,600 animals back when you started. That would have been in 2004.
That's right.
And now we've reduced that. Now, last year we took in 3,400.
That's correct, yeah.
So you've reduced the number of animals.
Yeah.
Okay, in 2008, it was, this is bi-monthly by the contracts, it was $8,100, roughly $8,100 a month. In 2010, it went to $9,200 a month. The next one, I think there's one in between 2010 and 2016, it made a big jump to $18,000 a month. And I think there's one in between there, but I couldn't find it. Here it is. Let's see. What is it, 18? That must have been a typo here. 2018, I think it was 18,000. But here in 2019, the last contract that we negotiated with you and that we're in the middle of started out at $28,500 a month. 2012, with an 8% increase, 2020 is $31,000 a month, and 2021 is $33,635. That is more than quadrupled from when, at least from 2008 in that 13-year period, and our animals are going down. And what I would like to know, and here you're asking for another $154,000, which is that's over $12,000 a month, right?
That's correct, yeah.
$12,000 a month increase in addition to this contract here.
Right.
I want to know what changed in these 18 months from when you negotiated the contract to now that would justify such a huge increase.
Okay, check the cost of labor. The utilities have gone up. Dog food has gone up. Medical supplies.
In
have
18
gone-
months?
Yeah,
That much?
it's gone up quite a bit. Check what McDonald's was
I mean,
paying.
you do get donated materials, do you not? You get donated food, you get donated,
We get some, yeah.
and you get donated drugs, I think you do, don't you?
No.
You don't? Okay.
Yeah, we donate money to them, they donate drugs to us. That's the way that works.
And the pickup, I mean, do you charge a pickup fee? If a
No.
dog, you don't charge any pickup fee?
No.
When did that change?
It's always been like that.
Have you ever charged a pickup fee? When somebody's animal is picked up out in the, yeah, that's what yeah.
We charge them whenever the vaccine costs us. We're vaccinating everybody that comes in the door since we have the December outbreak. So we're charging them the vaccines that we do. And then if their current rabies vaccine is $15, because of the state law, they have to have rabies vaccine.
Right.
So it depends on how long they're there, what we do. Majority of the people pay like $45, even if they're there 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
That's part of the December board to sell a rabies vaccine.
So you really don't charge a pickup fee, it's just you're covering the thing. I was under the wrong impression then. I was thinking that our animal control guy that we spend $250,000 on, go out and then pick them up, and then y'all charge a pickup fee.
$10 redemption fee. So that's what it
Redemption
is.
fee? Okay.
Redemption fee and $10 a night that they're there.
Okay.
But the majority of the people, we're posting pictures and getting them out pretty quick if it's their redemption.
Right.
So they're only there 1 or 2 days. I mean, some stay longer, and if they do, of course, the charge is more. But like we had a Rottweiler that was turned in this weekend. He wasn't currently rabies vaccine, so we did $45 for his redemption fee. So it's either, we have a hard time for charging the $20 redemption fee, $10 a night on top of the vaccines we're doing too. Most people, they don't want to pay that for sure.
Yeah.
So we did the 45, just paying what we have in it. And we do get a lot of donations for food, and our community has been wonderful helping with that, so. And his other question about the county, or Joe, when they pick up, they only pick up in Limestone County, for Joe. So, and those people that turn in the animals to us, they have to show proof that they live in Limestone County, like driver's license, utility bill, something.
Yeah. But you don't discriminate between where they live in Madison city limits or Huntsville city limits?
As long as they pay their utility bill in Athens City,
Yeah.
we go on the utility bills. We seem like, because the annex things is hard for us to.
Right, yeah, I understand.
It is us too.
Yeah.
That's hard for us too. And like I said, we're just
Yeah.
trying to figure out, I mean, being a steward of the taxpayers' money, we've got to dot all our I's and cross all our T's. I mean, that's just the simple facts, And I mean, and I'm not. I mean, if this is
understand that.
something that's needed, I mean, like I said, we have to do it. We have to do it. But I mean, I just want to. Before here's the deal. If we didn't, you agreed to this contract originally, and the animals have went down.
Yeah.
And I mean, I sat in the commission meeting last time, and it was some conversation about it last time.
Yeah.
And I mean, if we renegotiate a contract today, the next person we're gonna have coming here is gonna renegotiate theirs. You know what I mean? And if they gotta have, and we gotta be, and if it's a needed thing,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But I mean, I gotta make sure all the things is here for me.
Yeah.
That's just me. That's just.
Okay, here's the flip side of that. If y'all want me to go back to the days where we just put them down, blanket after 7 days, we'll do that. But I'm gonna defer the guidance to the commission. I'm not gonna take that heat again.
Yeah, that's the question I had, Doc, is what percentage of dogs are you euthanizing?
Less than 20%.
Cats, same thing, less than 20%?
Yeah,
When your bills was a lot lower, how many was you euthanizing?
probably 80%.
Okay, that answers my
And it was a
question.
public relations nightmare. The
So
record-
you can save us money if you want to put about 9 out of every 10 that come through the door down.
Yeah, and if your dog is picked up and he's 7 days up, I put him to sleep, you're gonna say, well, why in the hell didn't
My mom
you?
was watching my dog. I'm in Panama City
Yeah.
Beach, Florida for 6 days.
You put my dog down.
You're gonna put my dog to sleep.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take that heat, because I've done it before and I'm not gonna do it again.
But you clearly though, the spay and neuter charges are the clearest cost, the highest cost
That's
in your
correct.
P&L.
Yeah.
I know it varies, depending on the size of the dog, size of the cat, whatever. How many how many spay neuters do you do a day?
I don't know, 8, 10, sometimes 12.
Do you have any?
As far as mine, probably, you do 8 or 9 surgeries a day, clinic and shelter. We could do probably 7 or 8 to 10 a day. We probably could, but we try to spread them out and do like 4 or 5
Right.
But every dog that is spayed and neutered has been paid a $110 adoption fee
if they're adopted.
if they're adopted. But now, do you just spay them even though if you don't adopt them?
That
We
comes in?
have done that. I mean, we say, people don't adopt black dogs, they don't adopt ugly dogs, they don't adopt old dogs or dogs with cancer, stuff like that. Sometimes we'll spay them and she'll send them to a rescue.
Have y'all ever, here's another thing that, talking with the other vets and shelters around the North Alabama, do we do the trap, spay, and release with cats, or would that reduce your cost?
Yeah.
So the minimum, the cost of carrying them, the 7 days or the 10 days or whatever, is not significant, right?
The number that we carry over 7 days is fairly significant.
Well,
And, if you want me to cut back on that, I'll say, by directive of the county commission, we can only keep them 7 days. After that, they're going in the dumpster.
so that was another question I have. You
Yeah.
don't have an incinerator. You go in the dumpster,
That's right.
and it goes into the,
Yeah, flesh is
Transfer
all
tank.
degradable, yeah.
so it goes in the city dumpster, and they come out, waste manager, waste management come out? Or the city?
City picks it up.
City picks it up. And then they take it to the transfer station?
Yep.
Okay. So there's really no disposal, that comes out of the shelter other than it goes in the dumpster, okay?
That's right.
So that you don't have that cost, okay? I'm just telling you, I just have a hard time quadrupling, or that would make it, 5 times on decreased animals. And I would have to have an audit. I would, before I ever do this kind of mid-contract. And it may be that we go in and if we do this, we'd have to start right now because it would be 16 months before the end of the contract and decide whether or not, you made this point, you're the only private animal shelter in North Alabama.
That's right.
Okay. And maybe we need to change our model.
Maybe we should.
Yeah.
Maybe
But
we should.
I cannot.
But if you change it, you're gonna have to pay somebody this figure, right?
Sure. Well, yeah. And the thing about the spay and neuters, you brought suit against Ms. Farrell back in 2014.
Miss Farrell.
Okay. The one that was doing the 40 spay and neuters a day, okay? That she developed this procedure that she,
You talking about Margaret Farrell from down in?
Margaret Farrell, yeah, down from Irondale.
Okay, no, I brought a suit against her because she was practicing illegally. A veterinarian has to own it.
But the board,
That's right,
brought 30 charges against her.
yes,
And all but 3, which was basically administrative, were dismissed.
yeah.
Okay, it wasn't about the safety and of the procedures that she did, and you brought that up and brought in animals that she didn't even treat. That said that,
I
if you
didn't
go
do
back,
that. I brought charges against her for not complying with the Practice Act and the fact that she worked for a clinic that was not owned by a veterinarian.
how did the legislation work out on that?
She was found guilty.
She was found guilty
It's
on
under
3 counts
appeal.
out of 30.
It's under appeal now, and she's still able to practice.
Yeah.
It's been under appeal for
Well, you shut down the
13 years.
how many years was the low-cost spay and neuter clinics nonprofit shut down?
None.
They weren't?
No.
Well, that's beside the point of what we're talking. We're talking
Well,
about
I mean,
contract
it goes
here.
to cost.
Okay,
Yeah.
you would investigate that, but I've been out here 14 years, and How many times have you been in that shelter out there?
Twice.
Twice. It's open to the public. You can audit it any time you want to.
Yeah.
So these are all public records.
And like I said, I mean, I appreciate the service. I mean, I want you to understand, I appreciate the service you provide and all. It's just, renegotiating a contract, we have to do everything we can to make sure it's what we need to do and it's the right thing to do. And I mean, it's just, and like I said, I mean, I'm naturally, you know, well as I do, I don't vote no since the tie. These four gentlemen here got the votes. And like I said, I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, I had a few questions, and I mean, I'm looking at answers for them, and I mean, like I said,
If you have any other questions, I'll be trying.
and I appreciate it. And like I said, it's just one of those things that I just, as a steward of the taxpayers' money, I have to make sure everything is. I mean, and hey, this may be what the taxpayers want. And if that's what the taxpayers want, that's fine. You know, but I mean, the taxpayers also want
Find
to.
that out after we start throwing them in that dump.
Well, I mean, the taxpayers also want the road fixed. They also want the bridge fixed. They want everything. You know, I mean, and I don't care. And you know well as I do, every service has passed it to what the item is. It's just like, you know, some people, cutting the bush on the side of the road is passionate. Some people getting their newspaper on Saturday morning at the right time is passionate. You know, I mean, everybody has a different passion. I mean, the passion is the passion. I understand, but you know, we have to, you know, because good. I mean, it's like with any other contract. Anytime somebody comes to renegotiate a contract, I just want to make sure it's the right thing to do because I'm hired to be the steward of the money. You know, that's just,
Exactly. Yeah, I understand that.
If this shelter was to close and these dogs and cats keep running the streets, then I'd have to add a person to my crew to go keep picking up dead dogs and dead cats off the side of the road and burying them. That's
Yeah,
just
but-
a fact. Because
yeah.
I get calls now because there's a dead bunny rabbit that somebody needs buried. There's a dead armadillo in the road near my house. Come get it. And let me tell you, I hadn't seen a vulture land yet and eat a dog. I've seen vultures land and eat all this other animals, but I ain't seen one land yet and eat a dog. And them dogs is gonna start swelling. It's 80 degrees yesterday, probably be 80 today, probably be 100 in 2 weeks. But I'm just telling you, East Limestone, Doc's right. There's a lot of people out there. It's a lot of dogs running down the side of the road that probably ain't lost, that get picked up and took to the shelter because they got out of the backyard. That guy's gonna look for that dog. He don't need to show up at the veterinary clinic to find out Doc's done put him in the dumpster.
oh, I agree. I mean, because my dog came up missing, they got my dog. I mean, that's not. I mean, I understand that. I mean, that's a.
Do you not think that a person who's lost a pet within 7 days is not going to check with the animal shelter?
Well, as like Jason
It
said, if
happens
he's out
every
of
day.
town,
Well, I mean, that's up to them. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, that's.
I mean, well, like I
that's
said,
not
we got
a-
16
hit 'em
months
with a
left on this
shovel.
contract, and I mean, you know, I mean, and if you, I mean, like I said, I mean, I mean, it's not like the shelter's going to close today, is it?
No,
I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, you've got a contract. I mean, you're not wanting to get out. You're not wanting to get out of it, are you?
no.
Okay. Well, I mean, so that's a.
I'm not wanting to get out of it, but when the pro rate of money runs out on the city and the county, the city's covered because they covered the whole year. But when the money I get from the county runs out, I start using more euthanasia solutions because I'm not going to continue to fund it. Whatever it is, I'm not going to continue to fund it.
You're using 11 bottles of euthanasia solution a year, and you were using 108 bottles of euthanasia back when you started,
That's
16
correct.
years ago.
Yeah, and I don't want to go back to using 180.
How big is
But-
the bottle?
250 cc's,
How much does it cost?
$48 a bottle.
I mean, that's not, I mean, it's like, if you look at the P&L, that's not a whole lot of cost. But,
it's
I
a
mean,
whole
but
lot
that's
of
what,
euthanasia solution.
what's that?
It's a whole lot of euthanasia.
It is. It is. But I'm just talking about cost.
Yeah, okay.
The big item is the spay and neuter. And that's,
Okay, so if we quit spaying and neutering,
no, I don't want you to do that. No.
it's required by law that we do that.
That's correct, and I want you to do that, continue to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've looked at those numbers. You can take, one cat can produce 400,000
That's right.
cats in her lifetime. We don't want that to happen. That's not what, don't misunderstand me. That's what, I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
Dogs, I think it's like 120,000 over 7 years, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
A bunch,
Yeah.
okay? I don't want that to happen.
No, I don't
That is our primary mission.
That's how we got it from 5,600 to 3,400.
Yeah.
And we got 5,000 more households coming in.
Oh,
Do
yeah.
you know what the average density of pets per household is?
Oh, I know. I done the numbers.
2.2 animals per household.
Yeah.
That's another 11,000 animals.
And like I said, I mean, well, I know we done interrogated you here long enough, Doc, and we
No,
appreciate it.
no,
And like I
these
said,
questions need to be asked
That's-
and
and,
answered.
That's
and
right.
all I'm doing is I'm just trying to figure out what we need direction. And I know that Priscilla wanted to say a few words, and
Yeah.
I just don't want to run her out of saying something. And
You're good.
Yeah.
and I appreciate you answering all the questions. And Doc, I thank you for being. Like I said, I appreciate the service you provide out there.
Well, thank you.
I just need to know the numbers and the facts and the figures, and
Exactly. Yeah.
because
You got any
this is
questions?
going to come out. We're going to get
Appreciate
questions.
the job you do, Doc.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And thank you, Doc.
Thank you. I think I went over my 3 minutes.
Well,
but I
it
want-
was our fault. It was our fault, Doc. And like I said, we appreciate it. And I'm not. And I just wanted you to understand that
We don't
before I.
want
do-
$12,000 a month, it's more important than 3 minutes.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, you
That's
know,
right, yeah.
Jessica's gonna put it in the paper, and then when it goes to the
Long as
paper,
y'all
people's gonna go to
retract.
calling me, and I've got to justify.
Exactly.
When y'all
What's
start
happened
acting,
here?
it
And
don't
ultimately,
count.
it's y'all's decision.
And like I said, I understand it, and thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Priscilla, you want to?
Priscilla, you still want to say a few words?
Yeah, I guess I can.
I know I done run us plumb over, and I'm sorry, but I mean, it was just we had to.
Yeah. If y'all run
We got
me
plenty of
off,
time.
you need to keep this one right here.
And yeah, Priscilla, we thank you for the job
Thank you.
you do.
We
And I-
appreciate.
we do appreciate what you do, Doc. No, I'm not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not here to talk about numbers or anything. I just wanted to let you guys know how much our community does help the shelter. We've got, when I first started in 2010, euthanization rate was like 80, 90%. But with our community help, on those dogs that come in with the injuries, we have a lot of our communities that will donate $100 on the surgeries. Like, we have so much help. And I want to continue with that. Like, I feel like that it's a good for us to be with the community and them supporting us. And the shelter's like nationwide as far as people helping us. We have at least 70 rescues that help us across the United States. We send them everywhere. We've got a transport leaving this morning at 8:30. We have one leaving at 4:15 this afternoon. Another one Thursday going to New York. So it's 7 days a week, constant. And I just wanted you guys to know that that's my only point is how much that has meant to me. This is my passion. Of course, you already know that.
Oh yeah, and thank you for what you do.
And I feel like with the community support, it's been better. And you guys too. We got your dog once.
Yes, and like I said, but I was hunting him from the moment. Like I said, I called Joe every day to ask if he picked him up. That was just, and I did. From the moment he come up missing to the moment he was found, I called every day. It was a.
We just want to keep that relationship.
And-
That's my goal, to keep that positive relationship with the community.
Oh yeah. Priscilla, thank you for what
Yeah,
you do.
and thank you very much. It's amazing to me. I was talking to other shelters and everything that most of them come from the south and they ship them up north. And why is it that they do a better job controlling their feral?
Yes,
Okay.
they do. They have spay and neuter laws. Containment laws are enforced more.
Yeah.
Is that something we ought to look at the county? Do we need to look at more containment laws or something?
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah,
That's
license.
something we need to do.
Yeah,
It could be $100 a year.
yeah. And that may be something we need to look at because
The books down here, we just don't enforce it.
right, we don't enforce it, and there's some I think Colbert County did some things in terms of their regulations that made it better, easier to be enforced. There's a wide variety of situations in these counties, and they address them differently. And what I would like to do is find out what the best practices are, and incorporate those to reduce the number of animals. We reduce our cost, or should.
Well, there's a Alabama state law that they're supposed to be current on rabies vaccines.
Yeah.
So when those people in the county have 10, 15 dogs chained in their backyard, I think that's one way we could start, is our animal control making sure those dogs are current on rabies vaccines.
And that's what I'm saying, though. That's something we may need to implement. What do we need to implement? That's what we need to do.
That would be a start, like when 15, 20 dogs, showing proof that they're current. That's law.
Right.
I think that's a good
That's
start.
that's what, and the trap, spay, neuter, and release, or something like that. I don't know if that's some counties do that.
That's a hot and cold issue, all the bird fanciers out there that don't do that because it destroys the bird habitat. The average lifespan of a feral cat is about 2 years anyway.
Yeah.
You neuter one and put it back out there, it becomes coyote food.
Mhm.
It's just that simple.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but,
That's not a good
I mean-
long-term investment in a feral cat.
well, it's either that or killing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. So they're going to kill him.
Or
Yeah.
we're throwing it to the wolves or the coyotes when they get spayed anyway, so.
We help a lot of the people, though, that have the cats where they've got in a bind. I had a guy come in today that he turned in the kittens, so we're spaying the mom for him. And he asked how much, and I said, well, $90 if you can afford it. If for sure pay the $15, but we get donations from the community to help with the spay and neuter too, so that we don't send that cat back out to have more kittens.
I know Galbraith and Pulaski will do if it's a barn cat, he'll do it for half price. Because there were 2 cats out there in our barn, and I caught them and carried them up there and had them neutered because I didn't want him. And I mean, they're spayed, and one of them spayed, one of them neutered, and he done it for half price because I said, I don't know whose cats they are. They're in my barn, and I don't need a kitten running around. So I mean, that was kind of, and I mean, so I do know that there's programs out there for things like that too.
I'd much rather do that than take in those kittens and let that mom continue
Yeah.
to have babies.
Well, like I said, I hadn't even got a cat, but I've wound up with 2. I mean,
Right.
and I mean, and I went through that practice myself. Just because the fact is, I didn't want the shelter to get the litter of the cats off of them.
But that's all I had to
All
say.
right, thank you,
That was
Priscilla.
it. Thank
Thank
you.
you, Priscilla.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I'm sorry we run a long time. Probably kept Doc on his feet a long time, but we appreciate it, Doc.
Yeah.
Any more questions?
No, we're fine. I'm fine. I think.
Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
You bet.
We have on the work session for no resolution orders, contracts, agreements, and grants. Number 1 would be to amend the guidelines for accepting credit cards as a form of payment. Any discussion with that?
Mr. Chairman, let's add under the resolutions that one that Mark had emailed over the
about
weekend to
Huntsville.
the amendment resolution for the Greenbrier Parkway Phase 4.
All righty. So we'll add that. It'll be March.
Yeah, this, they came in late last week from Huntsville, but if you go back to the action taken, there were drawings in there depicting where the road would go through the affected parcels. There were some issues as they proceeded with that, some areas that they discovered were more prone to flooding and things of that nature that had changed the route of that road a little bit, so those drawings for those affected properties had changed. So what this resolution does is amends the agreement to
Include those.
update the drawings of the properties.
All righty. So I think I'm trying to speed through this a little bit here. And all right, we got a approved request for amendment with Dr. Pittman's increase to animal control services by $154,864 per year. We've discussed this for hours. Anybody got any suggestions or whatever? Do y'all have any idea? Would y'all want to leave it on there? Y'all want to go on? What do you want to do?
I would request we remove it, but I mean, if it's not a unanimous agreement, we can just vote on it in the session.
I guess we'll just vote on it if nobody has any.
How y'all doing this morning?
All right,
Hey,
Chief, how you
Fred.
doing? All right, we had no budget revisions, no merch purchases, no board appointments. Under award of bids here, we'll award 1 bid at the scrub seal with Ergon, and the price is all listed here below. I think that's all pretty much cut and dry there. Any discussion with that?
These are not all scrub seals, though, are they?
No, they're one of our bids we got last year that somehow got out of our rotation. I
Okay.
just missed it when I redid our bid. But yeah, one of the liquids is for the scrub seal, which is part of some of our projects. So we just needed to make sure that we
Make sure
got
we-
those liquids
Okay.
available. And so that's what it is.
All right, any more discussion with that? No more discussion with that. We'll move on. Personnel action, it'll be to hire Susan Hudson as office assistant for the council and agent. And second will be to approve hire Joshua Gentry as a deputy pending the drug screening, and then approve to transfer Justin Brown and Bill Bolin from the engineering to District 2. Any discussion with any of those personnel actions? All right, we move on. We have 1 merit increase under merit increases. Any discussion with that? All right, engineer's report.
Yeah, we have two subdivisions for your consideration. Bowman Acres is Phase 2. This is a major subdivision, so it'll be for preliminary and final, 24 lots, or for preliminary only, sorry. Major subdivision, preliminary only, 24 lots in District 2. Northeast corner of Brown Road and Bledsoe Road. This would be internal lots built on new roads. In Walker's Enchanted Forest, this is a replat of lots 64 and 65, minor for preliminary and final. It's one lot because they're combining these two lots so that they can do away with an easement that runs through the middle of it that's not used. And the address location is 23314 Christie Drive.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment right here. Before we approve this Bowman Acres Phase 2, I'd like to put that off simply because these guys, the first phase they started on, they can't keep the stuff out of the road. It looks like a junkyard over there every time you go by. Called and called and called the home builders, and they won't help me out on keeping the road clean. So I'd like to see some of them people come in here and talk to us, rather than us just rubber stamping approval for them to go right on doing more of that crap, because somebody's got to clean it up. It's been me and my guys. So I'd like to take Bowman Acres off until you have a chance to tell them to come talk to us in a meeting.
That's the one that you took.
That's the one I took you
I'm
and
fine
showed
with
you.
that.
All
I agree with
culverts
that.
and stopped up.
All the culverts is stopped up.
I'm good with that. So we're gonna remove Bowman Acres from the agenda. All right.
If he shows up at the meeting, we'll talk about it and vote on it, but he ain't here right now, so.
All right. Any more discussion with either one of them? All right, no more discussion. Under other business, we'll approve to sell District 4 on Gov Deals, a John Deere tractor, 7240 with a bush cutter. All right, so I guess that's pretty much cut and dry, so anything with that being?
Yeah, we have two, and this one is
Okay.
not needed.
All right, then we'll announce a scheduled public hearing today regarding a potential to change a portion of Red Hill Hollow Road to Abigail Lane. Mark, do you have anything ready for that today to vote on, or are we just gonna do the public hearing today?
Do the public hearing, but I think that I don't have a resolution to actually make the change.
Okay, so we're just opening public hearing today.
Public hearing, and then I'll talk with Ben, and if we want to put it on the next meeting after the public hearing, I can have a resolution.
Okay,
That'd be fine.
that'll be fine. All right, now we go to report of officers. Commissioner Sandwich, you
I
go.
don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Commissioner Turner.
I'll wait till the next meeting.
All right, Commissioner Black. All right, Commissioner
Same
Harrison. Same here. Same with me. We'll recess until 10 a.m., which is 7 minutes away.